Alastair, thanks for your time. Well, here we go. How do you sum up the morale and confidence in the side as you approach trying to hang on to the Ashes?
I think from talking from where we are in the dressing room, everyone's just desperately excited to be here today, really. It's been such a big build-up to the game, and we finally have arrived at pretty much game day, and just excitement. Obviously, there's going to be a few nerves floating around. I think they're probably the two favourite words going to be used. Obviously, nerves and excitement come tomorrow morning. But we do have to remind ourselves sometimes how lucky we are, to be playing in an Ashes series at a fantastic venue, with great support. Sometimes you have to try and take yourself out of the moment and actually enjoy it, because that's why we play sport for in the first place, and hopefully we can do that tomorrow.
And being favourites against the old rivals, is that something that sits quite well with the team?
Yeah, I think it does. We've been favourites in other series before. Just because it hasn't been Australia, doesn't mean it's any different to when you play any other side. And what we're very aware of is cricket's never played on paper, and it never will be played on paper. It's about who delivers out there, come tomorrow and the next 24 days of cricket.
Are you settled on your team at this moment, or are you going to wait until the morning before you fully decide on that final pace bowling spot?
Look, we're pretty happy with our the composition of our side, and we're very lucky we've got a strong squad to choose from.
Alastair, Joe Root's answered every call so far in his very short career. He's asking a lot of the young man, the first test, opening Ashes test.
I suppose it is. I think it's quite similar to what happened with myself, really. When I kind of moved up from number 3, I know I'd opened a couple of times in India, but opened up. Sorry, that's made me chuckle. Kind of thrown in there, but he's handled it himself in every situation fantastically well since he's made his England debut. And I think what's impressed everyone is he's always batted the situation fantastically well. So whether it's been a one-day game which needs to score quickly, or to see the side home, he's managed to change his style, the 2020 as well, and the Test match as well. So I can see no reason why he can't handle himself. He's a fantastic young player. Yes, he's got a huge amount of improvement to do, I think he'll be absolutely fine.
Alastair, what different questions have you as captain will this series ask as opposed to the series?
Well, I think pretty much the same kind of questions, just probably on your decisions are scrutinised a little bit more because there's more interest in it. That is the big difference.
Do you feel ready for it, for this big?
Yeah, I think so. I play quite a lot of cricket now, so I feel pretty experienced as a cricketer, and obviously as a captain as well. Just over the last 6 months, I think I've grown into the role quite nicely. I've got a huge amount of learning still to do, because I think the only time you really do learn is out there in the middle in those situations. But
having won in India, do you think that sort of helped you to tackle this huge challenge?
Yeah, look, I think you try not to blow it out of all proportions. Using those kind of huge words, massive series, all that kind of stuff. You've got to keep yourself very true to what you are and try and remember it's another game of cricket, and this is what we've been doing all our lives, and we've handled those situations before, so I don't see any reason why I can't do that.
Alastair, what have you made of what seems like a lifting of the spirits in the Australian camp since they made that coaching change?
Look, to be fair, we don't really pay too much attention to what goes on in the other dressing room. That's one of the great strengths of this side. We try and concentrate solely on ourselves and worry what we do. We've always known it's going to be one hell of a battle, these 5 Test matches here. Australia got some fine cricketers, and we're going to have to be our absolute best to put them under pressure to try and win a game. So that's how I see it, and I'm sure they see it the same way.
What about the toss as well? How important is that to win day one? What looks like will be a flat, hard jet.
Look, it's like anything, isn't it? You'd like to win the toss, you'd like to be doing what you want to be doing, but if you're not, it's how you cope with that situation. There's been games where, look at Mumbai in that India series we played. It was a pitch which was guaranteed you wanted to bat first because it was going to spin more and more as the game went on. But we managed to scrap really hard, bowl them out for 300, and then put a really big score So yes, it's important, but it's how you play which is the most important.
At the back.
Alastair, how do you...
Just at the back here.
Alistair, how would you describe the air of expectation on you after people who have seen success with British Irish Lions and of course Andy Murray? What difference can that make?
I think firstly it's huge congratulations to both that team and obviously Andy. It's an incredible moment I think for British sport when Andy Murray won Wimbledon and when the Lions won after such a long period of time. You know, in our dressing room there's a lot of big rugby and tennis fans. So actually watching that as a genuine sports fan was fantastic. As a British sports fan, you know, it was fantastic. That doesn't have too much relevance, unfortunately, to what we're about to do. You know, it's how we play rather than how Andy Murray played in that final. It's great and would love to be able to join them in that success, but there's a hell of a lot of hard work to do first.
Alastair, how do you rate Australia's pace attack, and particularly Stark and Pattinson, who perhaps some of the cricket public don't know as much about? How highly do you rate those two young bowlers?
Yeah, obviously very highly. They started their career very, very well in their short Test careers, and they can bowl quickly and swing the ball, which are the two good attributes to have as a fast bowler. So yeah, I think that's what is so exciting about this series. There's going to be some hell of good matchups from both sides, whether we're bowling or batting. So yeah, I think there's some fine prospects, and we've got to have to play them well.
What do you see as Australia's strength?
Well, I think they're a very, very good side. They've got some world-class players, and that's the bottom line. And I think in this series it's going to be a very high standard of cricket.
There's always talk of conditions, Alistair, but do you feel actually within your bowling unit you've got the weapons to counter anything you come to?
Yeah, I think we have. I think that's been proven now over quite a long period of time. You know, whether it is in the subcontinent or here, or whether it was in Australia in 2010, I think the group of bowlers we've got and the skills and the experience they've got now holds us in good stead to be able to adjust to depending on the situation we've got. And that's quite a comforting thing as a captain.
You're always surrounded by excellent captains out there. Are you the sort to take advice from other people, or do you just trust your instincts? I mean, advice specifically about an Ashes series.
I think you've got to do a little bit of both. There has been a little bit of advice flying around. Obviously I am good friends with Straussy, so it'd be silly for me not to tap into that. But as you said, you have to go on your instinct, because when you're out there, you're the one making those decisions. So that was probably the biggest advice I ever got from anyone when I first took over captaincy. Make sure you do it your way and be your own man. So that holds pretty true. But yeah, you do need to take advice, because there could be something he tells me or someone tells you which could be very crucial.
Alastair, England are clear favourites for this series. That's certainly what the bookmakers are saying. Is that a tag that sits comfortably with the team, or does it increase the pressure?
As I answered that question a bit earlier, it was it's not played on paper. Cricket never has been, never will be, and we've been favourites before in other series, just maybe not against Australia, and we played pretty well on that as well.
Expectations around England in Ashes series have changed hugely in your lifetime, certainly in your playing career. Are you conscious how much pleasure the public take from a series where you only go in as favourites rather than expecting to be rolled over?
I think the biggest thing I've obviously noticed from playing those Ashes series is when you've been successful, how many people come up to you and tell you what a great series that was to watch. I think that's one of the big differences in the series against Australia compared to any other nation, is the general interest in the series. I know that sounds obvious, but over the last couple of weeks we've had I'm not the only one, a lot of people, whether you've been in the street just coming up saying good luck for the Ashes, hope you win kind of thing, and that's very different to any other series.
Alastair, Kevin's renowned as a big match player. Must be a heck of a relief to going back again in a good time.
Yeah, he's looked really good in these nets these last couple of days, and obviously the 170 he scored against Surrey, for Surrey. It shows that although he's been away from the game a long period of time, he's ready to play and he's hungry, and yeah, he's performed on numerous occasions when the pressure's been at its biggest, and it's an Ashes series, so it does get heightened, and it's not just down to him, but he loves the big occasion, and it won't surprise me if he scores a hell of a lot of runs.
Last couple.
One of the strengths of this England team seems to be you hold your nerve when things are not going right. But do you think if you get on top, the Australian team might struggle?
Well, I don't know what will happen. Hopefully we can put them under some pressure. That's the aim of the game, isn't it? You put them under some pressure. It can take a long period of time. That's what Test match cricket is. It's a long game, and you're trying to apply as much pressure as you can for a long period of time, and hopefully the opposition will fold. That's what Australia will be trying to do to us, and that's what we'll be trying to do to them.
And last one back.
Alastair, can I ask what you do as a group tonight on the eve of something enormous this summer, and whether you sleep easy or is your mind just full of so much stuff?
Well, hopefully I'll sleep pretty well. I'm normally a pretty good sleeper, so far in my career I've never really had a problem with that. As today, we're ready to play now. It's just a matter of making sure we relax this afternoon best we can. Not walk around too far, because we know how hard the battle the next 5 days is going to be, especially in this heat. So rest up well, and we're ready at 11 o'clock tomorrow.